out connecting with people, because I think that is part of it, but there's still a lot that you can do. And when your life is full in other areas, so, passions, hobbies, social connection, having some sort of a purpose in life, having a connection to whether it's like God, universe, your higher power, whatever it is, that is what makes your life enjoyable and meaningful and purposeful. And when that is happening, you rely less on food.
Hello, and welcome to 100% Real and Saucy with Ruby today, because we have Marci back on and we just spoke about quite a lot offline that we think you guys will absolutely love. And we were just going to pretty much talk about the stuff that you're missing out on when all you focus on is the outcome. But something that we are seeing more and more prominent in the space of the online are two things. One is how absolutely trashed people are feeling from everything accumulated in their past, whether it be their mindset around food, their beliefs around food, their beliefs around what fat loss should look like. And now they're in a place where they think they should already know what they're doing, or they think they already wasted time, or they just haven't yet got they haven't yet bit the bullet that's the hard truth bullet of you need to actually figure out what your priorities are and what you are valuing in this moment. Because if you aren't going to sort that shit out now, you are going to be forced to face it in your future. Whether it's realizing through the death, like the death of a loved one, and then coming to a realization yourself that life is going to end, and it won't end well if you're in a pretty shitty place right now, but it can end well if you have great health, you have great fitness, you have great movement in your body, and you aren't feeling shit all the time. Or when you're forced to pay some massive medical bill because something happened. And it's something we don't even want to talk about, because we don't want to talk about that stuff in the future. We don't even want to think about it. We want results now, but we don't want to do the things to get there. But then on the other spectrum, something else we've been seeing is that males and females are still getting treated the same. And the thing is, maybe they can be, depending on the female, depending on what they've done in the past. Like, I can probably do a more aggressive reverse diet after I diet, and people cringe at reverse diet sometimes. They're like, it's not reverse diet, you just jump back up to maintenance. Semantics. It's just like toning. Like, semantics. Stop. Like, we know what we're talking about. It's just that people understand things different ways. And if we keep pulling people apart and putting other creatures down, putting other people down for using semantics, we're not going to get anywhere out of this. And I'm giving Marci a lot of leeway to lead with this whole thing, because I know that she can talk for ages on all of what I just said, because it is so true. Like, women, maybe if you're 20, athletic as hell, strong like a bloody mule and lifting crazy ass shit, and you didn't do all the mal dieting practices before, maybe you can do a lot more aggressive diets and reverse diets. And I did that in parentheses. But if you're someone who's like 35, 40, you're someone who's been dieting for ages, you're someone who isn't lean enough, it's a completely different process that you need to go through. And no, it doesn't mean adding 50 calories a day. That is absolutely ridiculous. Well, I should say 50 calories a week, because that's what people try to put out there. There is middle ground. Like, it's not a black and white thing. There's a spectrum.
Wow. We could end it there. What more can I add?
So much.
So I'm gonna take this and run with it, though, because I was talking to a client recently. I don't even remember which one it was. So someone who was probably in her, I would say like mid to late 40s, has dieted many times in her life, and there is, still some metabolic adaptation going on. She's frustrated because the reverse diet isn't going like she would have expected it to do or to go, or, the fat loss phase wasn't going like she had expected it to. And, you got to be honest with these people. You can't sugarcoat it, even though the truth is hard to hear, and it can be difficult to even, be the deliverer of that message. But the game just changes when you have yo-yo dieted for so long. I'll never forget he wasn't my first coach, he was my third coach, Jason Phillips, who, when I was working with him, kind of was, I hate to say like a no name, but he definitely is not anymore. He has a huge, very successful coaching business, and a very bright guy, but he always says, you can crash diet once in your life, and then things will never be the same again. So I'm sure that the majority of people listening to this podcast have already crash dieted multiple times. So you just have to have more realistic expectations that if that is what you did, and take a step back, don't beat yourself up, you don't have to shame yourself and feel like even worse about it, because oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. We're doing the best we can based on the information that we have available to us. And then combined with that sense of urgency, the societal standards to look a certain way, when you feel desperate, you will go to desperate measures. So yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I crash dieted when I was in I didn't like crash diet, but I started to diet when I was probably 12 years old, so I shot myself in the foot from the very beginning, and then continued to perpetuate that cycle for years and years. So now, like, things do not work as easily for me as they do for other people. So I kind of got off on a tangent there, but bringing it back to this client of mine who is older, who has gone through multiple phases of dieting, not in the right way. You can't compare yourself, as you were saying, Ruby, to the 20-year-old, fitness influencer on Instagram who went through one fat loss phase and then was able to reverse diet back up to 3,000 calories. So there is a reason for that. And I think that this is the good thing about social media right now, even though it can still be a shit show, is the tides are turning somewhat. So we are having these conversations that you can't be dieting forever. You have to reverse diet. You have to be in maintenance for a long enough period of time so that you don't tank your hormones or, really dig yourself into the ground health-wise. So I feel like younger women, and also there's, I think, more of a shift towards like muscle actually being something that women want to have. Like they desire to be, a little bit, for lack of a better word, bigger, but just like more shapely, more muscular. So I think Brett Contreras helped with that, with his whole like, glute gain. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. But I think you know what I'm trying to say. Like he kind of brought that to the masses. And so now it's like a lot of women are trying to build muscle, and they're going about it in the right way. But these older women who have done things incorrectly for a long time, I think, are looking to those women almost as in like body inspiration. And it's like, well, no, you're not comparing apples to apples, because this girl, she also likely has some good genetics, and she probably did not start to diet right away. She went to the gym, she started to build muscle, and then maybe she did go into a fat loss phase. The weight melted off because she wasn't metabolically adapted. And then she was able to reverse diet to a really high amount of calories. And one other thing that I'll say about that is I was on Instagram the other day and I saw this girl who has like an incredible physique. And she just herself, like, she looks like a doll, I'm not going to name names, but she has a huge following, and she put up a before, during, and after transformation photo. So the first, when she was in her early 20s, maybe even like late teens, and had first like gone into weight training. And then after a bulk that she went through, and then after a fat loss phase, a while back, but it's like basically where she maintains now. This girl's glutes, or really her physique in general, but definitely her glutes is what stood out even more. They are far better than mine are. after 20 plus years of training when she had hardly even touched a weight before. So you just have to really you have to be realistic about things, and you can't look at someone and just expect that because they look a certain way, because they've done things a certain way, is automatically going to mean that it works for you.
This comparison game is the most futile game you will ever play. Like, I realized today, I popped into my coach's group and there was a guy talking. He said that if it wasn't for my podcasts, he would probably be a mental mess. So shout out to you. Well, not a mental mess, but he would be going down a worse mental pathway regarding him trying to build his calories up and do a build. So shout out to you listening to this as well. I really appreciate all the comments and people mentioning my podcast has helped them, because that's what I want to do. But speaking about him, he was talking about him now being on a bulk at 2,000 calories and he's 165 centimeters, blah, blah, blah. And then here I am on almost 2,900 calories. And like, I'm a female, he's a male. And then you'll be like, wait, shouldn't it be the other way around? And this is where it's just like, yeah, but this is where the ball changes. And this is where you need to dig deeper into everything. Is that truly where his maintenance is? Is he actually active outside of the gym itself? Like, there are so many different factors that people do not consider in their comparison game. Something that tore me apart when I was dieting and on friggin' 1,300 calories, which if you've seen my transformation, you would see that I was putting on a lot of body fat at 1,300 calories because my body was a mess. But here I am, nailing my ass to the ground, doing everything that I thought was correct, looking at this amazing chick on Instagram, saying that she's eating friggin' 2,800 calories a day, maintaining her body on like 400 carbs or 300 and something carbs. And all I wanted to do was be able to be like her. And if all you do is want to compare yourself to this person and want their body, want this, that, the other, without realizing that they probably went through like, now I'm that girl. It's like, now I'm that girl. And people are just like, how do you get your legs like that? Well, to be honest, I haven't, this was me like when I got asked the question a couple of weeks ago. To be honest, I'm hardly training them. I have a hamstring injury. I do like a couple of exercises every single day for them because I do full body. But it's like my legs didn't get to where they are now because of what I'm doing now. It's from what I've done before. And it's the same with someone's nutrition. Like, they aren't eating the way they are now because of everything they're doing now. It's because of the past 6 months, the past years of what they've done. If what they're doing now is dieting on like 1,600 calories for like 4 weeks and making the biggest changes, then jumping back up straight away, versus what you're doing, dieting on like 1,200 calories, not making any changes whatsoever. Did you ask them if they perhaps built their calories up all the way? Or maybe if someone's dieting on like over 2,000 calories, which is what I'm actually seeing people compare themselves to now. Yeah, well, she probably built her calories all the way up to a place where she can maintain her body at a higher like calorie intake. You can't just compare yourself to that. And same with the booty example that you mentioned. It's like genetics. Like, I and a lot of other people do not have naturally big glutes. We can work our asses off for it and still not have them. But at the same time, have you been feeding your glutes? A lot of people don't realize that you need to actually feed your glutes, because as much as I can train my ass, if I'm dieting, it ain't gonna look like that chick who's actually eating enough food.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm the one that went on a tangent. But the thing that I wanted to touch on that you said is that, yeah, tides are turning. People are talking a lot more about maintenance, about reverse dieting. But here is the other cracker up. People are still playing on semantics. Oh, tone doesn't mean this. Well, we know what tone means. We just need to try to tell them that this is how you get toned. We know what people want. People want toned, give them toned. Just show them what it means to get toned instead of saying, stop saying toned. Like, I hate the word so much, but I say it because people know what I mean. It's just that to tone a muscle, you need to build it. You need to grow it. That is what toning is. And then with the whole reverse dieting thing, it's like, if we keep bashing on reverse dieting, we're going to scare the shit out of women, or we're going to do the opposite and say you can always just bump your calories up to what you were eating before. And then before you know it, they're back to their old lifestyle, back with the weight they just put on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think I said this on the last episode, but my biggest, and we don't like to call it regrets, right? Because it's what allows us to do what we're doing now and spread our message and help more people. You know, we made our message, but wow, do I wish that I would have spent more time building that foundation before starting to diet. Like, I definitely shot myself in the foot, because when I lost the weight, I had nothing to show for it.
And something I want to touch on there as well is, like I mentioned at the start, you don't think about this shit until you're actually stuck in it. And especially women go through menopause, I guess males losing their testosterone as well. But the older you get, the harder it is to build muscle. The older you get, the harder it is to lose fat. The older you get, your metabolism does not slow down. You make it slow down by not having the muscle there, by not training the same way, by not being as active. And you're not going to burn as many calories doing the same activity if you don't have as much muscle mass. You are digging your early grave. I just have to say that, because it's like I have quite a few girls going through menopause at the moment. And the ones that have stuck with me, like I have 3 clients that have been with me for over 4 years, which is amazing. And they are hardly experiencing any symptoms. They are smashing it. And then I have ones that have come, like I have 2 that have come to me recently. One of them, I just cured her symptoms somehow, but I don't think she was really experiencing it. I think it was just the way that her lifestyle was formed. The only thing that I really helped with was the night sweats. But I have another one that is still going through a little bit of that struggle, because she didn't have that base before and she spent her whole life dieting. This is something we can actually talk about. She's having the worst PMS symptoms because of that as well. But you can actually make PMS symptoms a lot less strenuous if you have the lifestyle factors in place. Because if you have a stressful lifestyle, if you're not giving your body the fuel that it needs, the right foods, if you don't have all that stuff and you're going to have cravings, you're going to have a lot more pain. Do you experience that with your clients?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do. Not too many of my clients are going through like perimenopause or menopause. I did, in fact, just put up a post today, a client spotlight post of one of my clients who is no longer working with me. We were together for 6 months. So she dieted for 4 of those 6, and she lost about 11 pounds, 11 inches, which, that might not sound like a lot of weight, but when you look at the pictures, it was the transformation was pretty significant. And she's 55. So, 55, menopausal, and she wasn't experiencing, she was experiencing some sleep issues, which I think is very common when women are going through perimenopause. But aside from that, she didn't do anything different. It was a very basic, simple plan. So I had her strength training 2 to 3 days per week, which I'll be honest, she wasn't even super consistent with. And we had a step goal. So anywhere from 8 to 12,000 steps per day, which she did adhere to. And I had her using flexible dieting, so macro-based approach. We did not go super low calorie. We did not go super low carb, no additional cardio. And she got great results. So if anything, you have to do things differently when you are approaching that time of your life because of those hormone shifts, or really those hormone declines. So that in itself is a stressor on the body. And if now you are in this chronic energy deficit, you're trying to eat 1,200 calories, you're also still trying to train the way that maybe you did in the past. So high intensity cardio, high intensity weight training. So things like, boot camps, Orange Theory, that kind of stuff, which really has your heart rate elevated. It's just constant cortisol output. That really backfires for women in that, I would say, like, early to mid 40 range and beyond.
Something as well to note on that is, like, we women have a lot more going on with our hormones because we have progesterone and estrogen in the mix as well. And it's like, it is so easy for males to do extreme diets. For females, we're not as lucky. Like, we can probably do it for a week, but then our body starts to adapt at a much faster rate than males, because our bodies sense that as stress more so than males. Like, it's a completely different ball game, which is why you should never play the comparisons. But also at the same time, we really wanted to talk on this podcast about how much stuff you miss out on by focusing only on the outcome. Because when you actually realize that your satisfaction cup comes with life as the foundation. Like, if you think of a cup that actually has that little foundational thing underneath, and not just like a U shape, but it has, like, those mugs with a little umbrella-y fine china underneath. Well, it's one of those really complex, delicate, fragile things, because you can easily disrupt that by chasing things and wanting things over and over again without actually just living in the moment, because you're never going to feel satisfied if you don't take time to actually appreciate the efforts that you've done. You're always going to be chasing more and more. And it's so funny because Marci put up this post the day after I planned something in extreme detail on Canva, which I haven't even put out yet, but it's the exact same concept. Change, success, progress, it all happens slowly, suddenly. But then there are missteps along the way. And there was another quote, I don't know how to put it into a tweet yet, but I've been thinking about it. But if we were granted in life keyboards that never had backspaces, and we just had to keep typing, there would be so many errors in our typing. Like, errors are always going to happen. We can't just backspace life. That's the same analogy. It's, our life is like a keyboard with no backspace. We'll make errors. We might accidentally press enter too many times and skip too many pieces of the puzzle, and then we'll need to backtrack to try and fill in the gaps that we missed. But it's what you do consistently over time, and you get better at typing and missing errors along the way because you get more efficient at typing. Like, it's like, we're so used to having backspaces now. So if they did bring out this keyboard, we wouldn't be used to having to type so perfectly and be so fine-tuned into what we're doing. It's kind of like that concept. We are going to make errors in life, and that's the beauty of learning. And the thing is, as soon as we start to get higher and higher up the curve, I'm pretty sure I would have this post out by the time this episode goes out. It's my little wave curve of progress. But as soon as we get higher and higher up this S curve, we may make a really massive drop again because we want to add something else into the mix, and then we become a beginner again. And we need to allow ourselves to be a beginner at that, because we can't be great at everything without having done it before and learning the ropes. Like, I remember when I tried to learn the trumpet, it took me ages to get that. And it took me ages to learn the violin, and I ended up giving that one up after 2 years because I freaking hated it.
I played the flute.
I tried to play the oboe. I have like little oboe bamboo things, and all I could get was really sounds out of it. I just couldn't, because my mouth is so used to the embouchure, which is the mouth placement that you need to do to make sound through the trumpet. Like, I loved the trumpet. I was in a band. But it's like, to learn these things, you need to get competent at it. And you can lose that skill quickly. It is so easy to lose that skill. But the thing is, just like with training, there's muscle memory. Like before I gave my piano away, because I'm moving, but before I gave my piano away, I went to play something and read some Taylor Swift music. I'm playing perfectly with my right hand. I remembered it all. I couldn't read the bloody bass clef. I'm like, I forgot how to read the left hand. It's like, it's a skill and it takes practice. And the more that you practice this skill, like dieting is a skill, the more that you practice that skill, the better you get at it. And it is hard. It is like, it might seem obsessive. If you read my story that I put up, it's going on my blog as well. If you read the story I put up on Instagram, it's like, it's a skill when it comes to the dieting thing, but you don't need to diet forever. But what is obsessive, this is where I was getting at. I forgot my train of thought. Now I'm back at it. I was just filling in the space. Obsessive. What is obsessive is worrying about how much you hate your stomach fat, worrying about how much you are worried that you didn't hit the calories, or you don't know what you're eating, or you don't know if you're on track, or you don't know if what you're doing is right for your body. Instead of wasting so much freaking mental energy and stress worrying about all this shit, kind of like track. It's less obsessive. It gives you more control. It just feels like that at first. And you don't even have to track everything to a gram. You just do things as simple as you need to do them until you get better. Or you can just create a meal plan with the macros that you need to do, or get a meal plan template, follow that. And then if you want to change something out, which is what I encourage my girls to do, if you want to change something out, put that into MyFitnessPal and then figure out something that's a close alternative. It's like, there are so many different ways to get in control of your life. How would you help with people trying to get in control of their life and show them it's not as obsessive?
So it's interesting you say that, because I don't know if I shared this on our last podcast, but it's so funny. I'm putting my hair down and you're putting your hair up. And people can't see right now, we've been like fiddling with our hair the whole time. But I don't remember if I shared on the last episode. So part of my story is that I struggled with, and I think you've shared this too, like NSED. So not SE, EDNS. Yeah. So eating disorder, non-specified. So I wasn't anorexic or bulimic or anything like that, but I definitely had disordered eating, like habits, behaviors, beliefs, whatnot. And again, no fault of my own, because I was just following the advice in the fitness magazine that was telling me to eat 5 to 6 small meals a day, protein and vegetables, maybe some carbs if it was after a workout. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do that. And like I was able to follow it to a T, and I lost weight. I got super lean, not muscular in the process, but it definitely developed this disordered way of thinking. And it was also at the time, so Oxygen magazine was very popular, and the woman who was like the co-owner, Tosca Reno, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she like even wrote a book called like Clean Eating, right? So it was the total like clean foods, not clean foods, good fat, good food, bad food, all of that. And I was just in that trap for a very long time. So throughout college, and then I would say until I was about 24, and then that is when online like blogs and forums started to become popular. And I was all about those. So I found this guy, his name is Eric Ledeen, Lean Bodies Consulting. Shout out to Eric. And he's still coaching. I'm actually doing his group program right now for training after 14 years. But he had me on a meal plan. And I was fine with it. I'm like, I'll do whatever I need to do to get results and look like a bigger competitor for one time. But yeah, it was a meal plan. But what I liked about it is he also had a database that went along with that. So let's say on my plan, meal 3 was white fish, white potatoes, and broccoli. Well, if I said to myself, I cannot look at another piece of white fish, I'm going to puke, then I could substitute that out for something else. So that is really the definition of flexible dieting. It's not how much junk can I fit within my macros. Yes, like, okay, save 10, maybe 20% of your calories for those more fun foods. And we were allowed to do that in our post-workout meal. So post-workout meal, like anything was pretty much on limits. So I chose cereal, candy, frozen yogurt, that kind of stuff. And then for my more like nutrient dense meals, I was able to make those substitutions. And it was like the perfect balance. So having that post-workout to look forward to, or like my protein ice cream in the evening on non-workout days, is like just enough for me to stay satisfied. But also get over that restrictive mindset when it came to food, because I realized, oh, look, I can eat cheese, I can eat potatoes, I can eat fruit, I can eat oatmeal, like all of this stuff that I had been avoiding for so many years, thinking that it was going to make me fat, or at least like not make me be able to lose body fat. And then when I got the leanest I had ever been, I was like, oh, there's something to this. So that is what changed the game for me. And it's why I encourage all of my clients to track, at least in the beginning. One, because it creates that awareness, right? So a lot of times people will come back to me after they're tracking for maybe a week or so, because I have everyone give me a food diary before I actually set their macros, just so I can see approximately how many calories they're currently eating, what their food choices look like, what their habits look like. I can better make suggestions off of that. And 9 times out of 10, they come back to me and they're like, I am appalled, and I did not realize how much I am actually eating. So it's an eye opener. And then from there, they can open themselves up to, oh, like, yeah, I can incorporate this food that I felt guilty for eating for so long. And now this feels more enjoyable. It feels more sustainable. And oh, by the way, I'm finally making progress. So that's the both worlds.
That last part, I will talk about the other thing in a sec, but that last part is like, oh, I can fit this in. It's like, there's no way I can eat 2,000 calories. Honey, you were eating that before. It's just that you weren't tracking it, or you weren't aware of what was in there. It's like people are so scared of like 2,000 calories when so many times you eat double that on some occasions, and probably just under that most of the time, because you don't know what your food contains. Like, I had a girl who, I need to actually get this protein post out soon, but I had a girl who posted a salmon meal not that long ago. And I'm like, yeah, okay, just so everyone's aware, salmon's about close to double the calories of chicken breast because it's 50% fat. So be mindful of that when you factor it into your food. And the response I got was, holy shit, are you serious? And it's like, you need to be aware of exactly what healthy, organic, vegan, paleo, I can even get my wig and pretend I'm like this vegan little, not vegan, this organic, clean little person and play it out to you. But you need to, vegan, clean, organic, it all has some form of marketing clouding the actual truth behind it. Like peanut butter, for example, some people, most people, not anymore, but some people still think that peanut butter is a good source of protein. Some people still don't realize the calories in a tablespoon of peanut butter. Like, being aware of all of this stuff and realizing, hey, instead of trying to be super clean and having like a handful of almonds, why don't you just friggin' eat the ice cream instead of depriving yourself of it, and actually have a lifestyle. And like you said, with the fitting in the foods thing as well, it's, you need to not always have an out clause for everything. Like, oh yes, when's the next cheat meal? When can I fit in this burger? Like, it's not about 80-20. Like, if you come into it thinking about the 80-20 mindset, you're not coming into it with the right mindset. You should be thinking, how much food can I possibly get myself to eat that is full of nutrition density and lower in calories, and then fit in something that I enjoy to fill my cup because it's soul food, instead of coming with the mindset of how much trash can I fit in with this and what are my minimum requirements for the good food. It's, you need to flip that switch, because that's the best way to maintain this, because it's going to have you feel better as well.
Right. And that is one thing that I always say is, Eat a diet that nourishes your body and your soul. Like that is the winning combination.
Yeah. Marci and I can talk forever, which is why we're gonna do some little lives together. But there's this satisfaction cup that we spoke about on the last podcast that I brought up not that long ago as well. It's not just about the foods you eat. It's not just about learning that you can fit in these foods, but it's about zooming the fuck out. I'm making that a quotable because it is, but zoom the fuck out. There is more to life than just what you put on your plate and what you do in the gym. And as soon as you realize that and use food and fitness as a means to make you feel better and show up better for life.
Well, and I think that when your satisfaction cup is full, and I created that post, oh gosh, I mean, you're not, yeah, probably like a couple of years ago. I created it during the pandemic, I think, when things were like really bad, at the beginning of lockdown. And because emotional eating was so, I mean, it's always prevalent, but I feel like even more so when people were, really stressed out and uncertain and locked in their house. So, it's more difficult to fill your satisfaction cup when you can't be out connecting with people, because I think that is part of it, but there's still a lot that you can do. And when your life is full in other areas, so, passions, hobbies, social connection, having some sort of a purpose in life, having a connection to whether it's like God, universe, your higher power, whatever it is, that is what makes your life enjoyable and meaningful and purposeful. And when that is happening, you rely less on food to fill you up.
Yeah. I want to do that post still, which I told you I want to make. I don't know when I will do it, but when I do it, I have some awesome visual concept for it. But we spoke about on the last podcast, which I want you to touch on a little bit more as a really strong emphasis in this podcast. And that's when we were speaking about the perfectionist thing, because we try so hard in life to do all these things. We want to be all in, we want to be 100% perfectionist mentality. And it predisposes us to a lot of emotional eating because it's like our stress relief. It's like that's what we tie ourselves to as our stress relief. And like, I see this a lot. And as much as I say piss poor preparation equals piss poor performance, if you don't prepare your food, plan to actually have it all there so you're not emotionally eating, you're not going to say, I don't feel like this, time to have something that's easy to grab, like ice cream and a croissant, whatever. It's the dialogue going on in your head that's making you rebel against what you know you need to do to get to where you want to be, so you can actually feel in control of your body. Because this perfectionist mindset, this I need whatever it is, this I'm so busy, I'm so exhausted, I can never get it right, blah blah blah, why am I doing all the right things? It's contra indicating, like it's contra to each other. So you can take that.
I love that alliteration that you use. I'm all about alliteration. So where exactly do you want me to go with that? Because I feel like there's a couple of
everywhere. It's a deep thing that I think will help so many people.
Yeah. I mean, so I think the perfectionism, so it happens in so many areas of life, but I find it with the women that I work with who are, they're very ambitious. A lot of them they do have careers. So they're not just, when I say like just a stay-at-home mom, like that is, that's probably the hardest job someone will ever have. But meaning they work outside the home and there are a lot of external pressures from a work standpoint. And so they're always feeling like they have to check the box, cross everything off the to-do list, that completion syndrome. And if I don't do that, then somehow I'm not good enough, or my day isn't complete. So there's a lot of shame associated with that. And when that is the case, then what is the path of least resistance to make yourself feel better? Eating, right? So let's drown the sorrows away. Let's try to numb the feelings that we have about ourselves, whether it's through food or alcohol. So I like to work with my clients on really, reframing those beliefs that you are not a robot, you are a human, you're a human being, you're not just a human doing. And these standards that we set upon ourselves are damn near impossible to fulfill. And I think that we put a lot of more pressure on ourselves than maybe like someone else. I mean, yes, there are like bad bosses out there and all that. Like it can happen for sure. So maybe it's the combination. But yeah, if you're just, living your life like on this hamster wheel, feeling like you have to go, 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 and you can never slow down, and like, being afraid of like what that means if you do, what's going to happen, like is the other, like waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of syndrome too, then yeah, like living in that constant state of fear, you've got to settle your nervous system some way. And typically it is food that is going to be the path of least resistance for sure. But not planning ahead is going to shoot yourself in the foot too. And that's another thing that some of my clients struggle with is, again, they feel like this is not it's a story that they are telling themselves. I have so much to do. There's so much pressure on me to get things done that I do not have the extra 10 to 20 minutes in my workday to, put things on pause, step away from the desk, go and go and like make myself something to eat and come back, like eat it slowly, mindfully, like enjoy myself, nourish myself, and then I can get back to work. And what they don't realize is when they do that, or when they don't allow themselves to do that, they are making it even more difficult, because food is fuel, food is nourishment, and it, like protein especially, also, fiber, vegetables, like that is so important for your neurotransmitters, your dopamine, your serotonin, your epinephrine, all that, which is what is going to allow you to do better, more focused, more productive work. So
I'm marking this right here because this is really freaking important. Can you listen to what she just said one more time? I'm just going to reiterate what she said. I'm not going to carry it forward because I love her part here. You need to make sure if there's anything you do, you prioritize protein. I don't care if you want the ice cream, prioritize protein and veggies, because you are only going to make yourself feel worse. Neurotransmitters are the things in your brain, by the way. They make you feel good. They make you crave food on both sides of the spectrum. If you aren't getting in your protein, if you aren't getting in your veggies, you are going to crave more food. You are going to feel more shit. You are going to feel more stressed. You're going to feel more burnt out. You're going to feel like you need more of everything because you feel like you don't have enough, because not only do you have that within your own mind physically, but within your own stomach physically with the shitty food you're giving it. Continue that. That is so good.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And self-regulation plays into that. So like your neurotransmitters, I think, play into self-regulation. How you are fueling your body plays into your ability to make good decisions throughout the day, not only in your work environment, but when it comes to how you take care of yourself. So yeah, if you're waking up and you're not eating breakfast, you're relying on caffeine. And now oftentimes people say, well, I'm not hungry in the morning, so I don't need to eat breakfast. It's like, yeah, no shit, you're not hungry, because you're waking up, cortisol is spiked, which is going to blunt hunger, and you don't have any self-care routine. You don't have a morning routine. You are just like diving right into your day, or diving right into taking care of the kids instead of, going back to the cup, filling your own cup first. So you're kind of like firing on all cylinders, and it just creates this perfect storm of stress, this environment for stress, so that you don't have an appetite. And then you work through lunch, and now you get to the end of the day, the stress starts to come down, the caffeine is starting to wear off, and you're freaking ravenous. And you also likely do not feel good about yourself for some reason. Something happened at work, you're telling yourself stories, you didn't get enough done, or the kids are driving you crazy. So now what do? Yeah, you dive into the chips, to the wine, whatever it is. So the fact that you have not set yourself up for success during the day, one, by how you start your day, but also by nourishing your body, taking breaks throughout, whether that's to eat a meal, to go on a walk. I'm a huge fan of getting outside, going for break or going for walks a couple of times a day, 5-10 minutes, just to get that sunshine, which is also going to help with serotonin. That's going to boost your mood. Now you are going to come back. You're going to be more focused. You're going to be more productive. You're going to feel better. And then if you couple that with proper nutrition and hydration, then you're just way more stable. And you end your workday feeling pretty good.
You need to slow down a lot of the time. And something that I do see a lot of the expectations that people feel aren't really real. You're just thinking that you have all these expectations because we don't set boundaries years ago. And because we never set boundaries, that's kind of what we built ourselves as our current work level. But those expectations aren't really there. It's the fact that you've created those through not having the boundaries before, not saying no before, but you have the power to change that. The thing is, it's not always going to be easy at the get-go. So you do need to wean your way in. You do need to make small changes here and there, or you're just going to stay feeling wired but tired, feeling exhausted, not being able to have time to put yourself first. If you don't start saying no, if you don't start putting in boundaries, like, there is so much I need to do. Okay, who says? Is the house going to go up on fire if you don't clean it to absolute oblivion for a weekend and then get back to it next weekend when you probably have a lot more fuel in the tank? Like, sometimes it helps to ask for help. Relate that to your diet as well. You can know all the things and you can still be fucking yourself up, like I did, like Marci did. Like, we probably would have fell into the trap up again if we didn't catch ourselves out of it and say, help. Like, you need to ask for help. Athletes know all their shit. They've been doing it for years. They still get help to better their game. Like, we're humans. We want to be better. And the generic program online is great if you just want to feel fit. But if you want to be your best self and look your best self and improve your life in the process, you need to actually look at life in the process and not just want a better life. Like, you need to look at it. It's so obvious, but it's so missed because we're so focused on the outcome. Like, be willing to ask for help. Like, Marci and I put out content daily that is there to help you, but that's nothing really without accountability, without it being tailored to you. And I made a post on this in my story ages ago. It's like, we put so much effort and time into putting free content out to help generally to help people. My podcast, her Instagram, my Instagram, it's all there. And it's free and it helps to get some type of interaction, some type of like appreciation for it with a few likes, with a few shares. But at the same time, realize that it means nothing to say, oh, I needed this today, if you're not going to act on it. And sometimes you need help to act on it, to make it more specific to you, to call yourself out on your bullshit.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, Instagram, it's a great place to get, sometimes it's a great place to get information. It can be a little bit information overload, and it can also be difficult to, sift through what is accurate, what is, logical, and then what is complete bullshit that you shouldn't be paying attention to. But if you know that something is realistic, then it's not always easy to take that action, right? And like, that's been the case for myself as well in certain areas of my life. Like, yeah, I can read something and be like, oh yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I need to start doing it, but maybe there's some sort of limiting belief that is holding me back from doing it. So, a lot of people are like, oh, just take action. Like, yes, that is true, but sometimes it's not always that easy. And I'm on a lot of podcasts, so I always forget, like, who did I say this to? So if we talked about this on the last episode, forgive me, but I think it's an important reminder. And I do want to write a post about this. I've just kind of been putting it off, maybe in fear of offending some of my other coach friends, but I really hate that whole, it's kind of like shaming in a sense, where it's like,
if you have the time to scroll Instagram, if you have the time to watch Netflix, if you have the time to go out and drink with your friends, then you have the time to get to the gym and to meal prep your food. And
I hate that.
I hate that because, like, yes, that is true, but it's not always that easy for people. So there is a reason why someone is not doing what they know they need to do. Everyone knows they need to eat better. Everyone knows they need to exercise more. Everyone knows, like, XYZ. That is not the problem. The implementation is the problem. And often the implementation comes from them not believing in themselves for whatever reason, or it's a fear of something. Like, I often say, people are more afraid of are less afraid of failure and more afraid of success.
Because it's like, then what happens next? All I know is failure. All I know is what I've been doing. This is how I've always been. Life's going to change if I'm actually different. It's it's kind of weird to say, because listening to it, you're like, oh, there's no way I'm sick of being the way that I am. But like, if you actually, like, no one has the friendliness with discomfort to be able to sit with it, to be able to actually realize that it is sometimes the case that you just don't know what's on the other side. But something that I said instead, because I don't like the way that's worded, it's like, yeah, but this is the way I am now. It's that mindset. It's that mindset of, this is the way that I am now. So having that as your dialogue, you are just repeating the story in your head. You are making it more truth when it's not even truth. Like, what proof do you have? Did you have our support then? If you have a coach, did you have the tools that you have now that you did before? Like, you have the power to change the rest of your story. But something that I actually shared with my clients was a little bit on a podcast I was listening to, which I actually thought was a lot better said than the time thing that you mentioned. And it was, so you have an hour of your day to listen to Netflix, to watch Netflix. You have an hour of your day to scroll your phone, to do whatever it is, but you don't have an hour of your day to listen to people that have been stuck in the same situation as you, to listen to people who have gone through the same stuff as you, who are where you want to be. You don't have enough time to listen to their story, to learn their story. And I felt like that actually held a lot of power, because it had a meaning to it. You want to be here. So why don't you absorb all the content? Why don't you listen to how people have got through it, their failures? Like, people who are high performance, people who have high success, they failed more times than they didn't. So you learning those people that are real and authentic, like Marci is, like I am. We speak the reality. There are a few people out there that do. If you actually learn from them, absorb everything that they put out there, make that your new narrative, like flood your ears with them talking, flood your eyes with what they say, take notes, and over time it will grow. I remember I used to do that. I used to write things people used to say. I used to write things that I saw people do. And because I was writing it so much, it was something that was a continuous it was a new input. It was like a new language I'm learning. And as much as I was still stuck to the way that I was going, doing this enough kind of helped me move forward, because then it's like, I just need to do this one thing. I just need to try and move in this direction. I was looking more towards the actions and the process versus the outcome. And I've kind of realized that I just want to bring a little business, kind of weird talking about business, but I just want to bring a little business analogy into this. And I realized this when I put stuff out there, it's like, I don't care about the money dollars on stuff and like selling to someone. It's more serving to someone. It's what I need to do to be able to get someone into my team so I can actually make an impact on their life. It's not, what can I do to get this money off someone? And something I realized, I only realized this literally 2 days ago. Something I realized is the reason I don't connect with the messages that are talking about making all this money is because I don't give a shit about that shit. I give a shit about making an impact on people's lives. I give a shit about people seeing my message commenting on my message, sharing my message, people engaging with my message because it impacted them. And then people seeing that I'm the person they need to help them. And then I realized I do it in business as well. I don't give a shit about the outcome. It's the process of doing it. And then the process gets to the outcome. So then I get so hard on myself about being so good at the process, but it's a lot more rewarding than focusing so much on just the outcome. But it is hard work. And that's the thing. But it's something that actually keeps you going, and it keeps you going because you're married to the process, not the outcome.
Mm.
I only just made that connection the other day, and it kind of made sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have to be married to the process, because when you get to the outcome, you just move the proverbial goalpost. It's never enough. So you get there and now you're always like, well, now what? What's next? How can I be better?
It's almost like that outcome doesn't have any meaning to you anymore.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It really is, you know. And sometimes, like, I know this has been true of myself, like even recently, you know, you have a certain level of success and then you are worried about losing it all. It's like, I've come so far, like what happens if I can't repeat it? What happens if I lose it? That could be a podcast for another day.
Powerful. That has to be alive. Write that down. I'm writing that down too. That is actually really freaking powerful. I'm writing the timestamp of this. It's so true, because it's like, I don't want to go back to how I was before. I'm scared that if I stop dieting, if I stop trying to lose weight, I'm going to go back to being fat again, to use people's words of speaking. But it's like, yeah, but that will happen if all you did was focus here. But we focused on the process. You now have tools, you now have a lot more knowledge, you now have growth, you now have years under your belt, you have shit in here, not just this. Like I spoke about probably 15 podcasts ago, maybe more, but there was a girl that I was on a call with, didn't end up actually agreeing to my coaching, but she hurt herself and was out for 2 weeks and was going to be out for another 3 weeks because she decided that she's going to go back to the gym with her fiance and start up. Guess what she did? 3 hours worth of cardio while her fiance was training. She did an hour on one machine, an hour on another machine, an hour on another machine. She did that for a few days in a row before her legs gave up on her and she hurt her knee and got a shin splint. And then I'm just like, okay, you're telling me in this conversation you want to be strong. How is that making you strong? You're telling me in this conversation that you want to feel better, feel healthier. You want to have motivation to go to the gym and you want to be fit and strong. How can you have motivation when all you're doing is smashing yourself in the gym, not really doing anything that's going to give you any progress markers? That feels like shit that I probably can't even do I probably couldn't even do more than an hour just doing jack shit on a treadmill or whatever the hell. But how is that getting you any closer to your goals? And when we dug into the conversation, she was always focused on just losing the weight, because everything she signed up to was, you win this for whoever loses the most weight. It was always outcome focused. And yeah, that is exactly why she gained all the weight back plus more, because she had no idea what the hell to do anymore. It was just outcome. So maybe you can sum it up, because that was the perfect way to end this, Marci.
Yeah. So, and I think that the reason why people get so caught up in the cardio trap and they're not focusing on the weightlifting is because, one, that's what we've been conditioned to believe, that cardio is what is going to help us lose weight. That's what burns the most calories, which is false. So yes, cardio does burn calories. Maybe at first it burns a little bit more than a weight training session, but over a period of time, your body is going to adapt to that. So now, the same cardio session that maybe burned 300 calories when you started, maybe now only burns 100 calories. So one, you're not getting the same benefit out of it that you thought you were. It is, if you are not coupling it with, fueling your body properly, eating enough protein, going back to that protein again, like we talked about, it is so important, not just for satiety, but for building muscle, maintaining muscle. And if you are also not weight training in addition to that, then you are exercising all of your muscle away, your metabolically active tissue, what is going to make you look lean, strong, toned, curvy, like whatever whatever word you want to use for it, adjective. But I think women, they see cardio as a way to stay in control of their process or control their body because of that calorie burn that they believe they are getting from it. And when you go into the weightlifting room or the weight training section of the gym and you are hitting the weights and you're doing it properly, maybe your heart rate isn't super high, you're not sweating profusely, you don't feel like you just got your ass kicked. And so they associate that with not being enough. Whereas with the cardio, you can really push yourself and at the end feel like you did something, when in reality, you just dug yourself into a deeper hole. And you're not staying in control of anything, because if you continue that pattern over and over again, then eventually your body is going to retaliate and you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, that's a really good way to end it. Stop digging yourself a digger hole with a bigger price, because it's not worth it, and you can only do that once, like you said before.
Yeah.
Let's end it on the same quote that we started it with. You can only crash diet once in your life, and things will never be the same again. You need to walk the miles out.
I like titling this podcast "Stop Digging" or whatever you said.
Yeah, stop digging a bigger hole.
Yeah.
Digging a bigger price. Wait, creating a bigger price to pay. I love that. I actually like that. That's it. Such a great podcast. And you already know where to find Marci. I'm going to leave her Instagram down below. And we will probably pop up on your Instagram feed with an IG live in the super, super near future, because we have a lot to talk about, as we always do.
Can't wait. And then I think podcast round 3 we talked about as well.
Yeah, we're either going to do a podcast round 3 and talk about the Satisfaction Cup, or we're going to break it down into our little mini series, because I feel like we can get quite a lot of chit chatter around all different things and form a series on not only the Satisfaction Cup, but things that aren't really spoken about in the whole scheme of what gets you the results that you can keep for life. And it comes down to bringing the lifestyle with you, because you can't leave it behind. If you leave it behind in your past and you stop the nutrition and training, whatever the hell framework that you just put on yourself, and you go back to the lifestyle that you didn't build with you, what do you expect to happen? So,
bam. You said it.
So,
to be continued.
To be continued. Don't forget to share this, to rate it, and tag us in your stories if you do share it. I know a lot of people don't really feel comfortable sharing podcasts, but if you do and your profile isn't on private, it usually pops up in our messages, and we will thank you and share it to our stories too.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you soon.